Hello, hi, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about urban off-grid survival. I say off-grid because you're not really connected to a grid if you're not connected to a house,
Yeah,
apartment,
do you
something
ever
like that.
do you ever get
Go ahead.
tired of paying your electric bill? Do you ever get tired of your mortgage? Some of that stuff is
Some
just
days
awful,
it's
man.
just you've
Living
had
living
enough.
like a civilized person is just terrible.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Yeah, I mean, I guess, it always comes to how do you become homeless, right? People are like, well, I don't understand. Well,
Mhm.
there's a lot of factors that come into that. Obviously, for a lot of people, it's money, right? No money becomes an issue.
Right.
And in the current world right now, definitely people's budget is something that you really had to plan for. Right now, people's budgets are getting away from them. Things are more
Mhm.
expensive than they were before. And
Yeah.
to be honest, people's paychecks are not changing to reflect what their bills are doing.
Mhm.
And that's a big thing. That's
Yeah.
reality.
Credit card
So
debt is skyrocketing.
exactly. Credit card debt. And then people don't realize, or I hate to say it, when your government and everybody's like, hey, don't worry, it's going to turn around. Good times are right around the corner. I guess Obama was straightforward with his. This is the new normal. It
Uh-huh.
sucks and it's going to keep sucking.
Mhm.
But we're never going back to prosperity. But some people, you hear politicians and Biden's out there running around saying everything's great. So
Yeah, everything's fine right now, according to him. But
At least that's my understanding. So that can happen. Um, Also, unexpected tragedies. A lot of people are one paycheck away from, losing everything, right? When they,
right.
and it's hard, right? So maybe you're young and you decide I need to move out. Even your parents sometimes they'll draw a deadline. It used to be, oh, you're 18, you're out of high school, you're gone.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
And now what is it? Oh, you're 35. You finished 3 college degrees. Now you need to move out. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the line. Wherever the line is, eventually that time comes where you're out on your own. Um, and people don't necessarily have the savings. Sometimes parents don't give the kids the opportunity to save up some money before they move out. Things like that.
Right.
It's not the same home life and situation for everybody. And some parents don't have the financial ability. I mean, definitely depending on where you live and the opportunities in your area affect what you can do. Like sometimes the whole family is pitching in to make ends meet, to make the
Right.
bills, work. Or maybe one of the breadwinners, is passes away or leaves, mom's the big earner and mom just up and leaves and doesn't come home. Whatever.
Right.
She finds a new man. She sees Kevin out there and is like, yeah, that's what I'm
Mhm.
after, and off.
Yep.
So,
All
um,
the men out there always are accusing me of being a home wrecker.
yeah, yeah. See, and then another thing, like so, alcohol, drugs,
Right.
definitely an issue. Mental issues,
Mhm.
prison could definitely uproot your lifestyle, that kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Believe it or not, they say that 11% of homeless are because of domestic violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a
maybe
big
they're
one.
leaving, a situation. So it's not always a choice. Sometimes it is a choice. Like Kevin said, kind of in the beginning, it's I just give up. I'm done. I'm done dealing with it. I'm done with life. It's almost where it's like suicide or I'm just going to stop dealing with stress. You just
Hmm.
kind of make a choice where there's no more. So, anyway, ends up there's about a half a million people homeless in the US.
All right.
So, we're going to kind of see if we can't make that burden, that life a little easier with some tips and tricks. Um, Now, obviously, Kevin's not homeless. I'm not homeless. So, inside track, not necessarily. However, we both did quite a bit of research, and turns out we know some people.
Yeah.
We've been around through the years. Pay attention. And
Hmm.
guess what? Turns out we're all about finding the right tricks and the right things to, open opportunities to, change your life and do things the more logical, convenient way. So anyway, let's figure that out. So first of all, you know that you're on your last budget and you're not going to be able to make rent at the end of the month and the landlord's like, "Oh, 30 days and you're gone," or maybe you don't even get the 30 days, you're already past that. It snuck up on you and you didn't realize things were ending badly. So,
Right.
what are some things you can do? You want to find a quality backpack. And I don't mean like quality, like go buy a big camping, $100 backpack. No, I'm talking about whatever. Just find something that is going to work for you and be sturdy enough and hold some stuff.
Right.
And that's important. Um, a good water drinking container would be awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, People say if you have your kind of last budget, some of the things to check out would be like the gym membership, like the Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of come back to hygiene being a very important thing, and both for your health and for your opportunities.
Right.
Um, but Planet Fitness in a lot of areas will have that $10 gym membership.
Hmm.
Some of the things I looked into had an annual fee. They had like a $70 thing that you might have to pay sometimes. I don't know the different opportunities. Y'all are gonna have to, check it out. But that's something to look into.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
you
go ahead.
wanna talk about hygiene for a few minutes? Um, or you want to come back to that?
No, no, I think that's good. I think YMCA is another great opportunity, and they also have opportunities where you can come in and just get like a day option and that kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, hygiene. What are some things like one of the things that I some videos and was listening to some guys about the different things you'd want being homeless, and they were saying chapstick, lip balm were a big
Right.
thing. Just being
Hmm.
out and being kind of going all the time outside in the weather really takes a toll on you. Deodorant is a big thing.
Hmm.
Um, because you can kind of mask a lot with that.
Right.
Triple antibiotic, having
Hmm.
some cream. These are some things you might want to think about early on.
Right.
And if you're
Or
ever looking to help out homeless people, that might
hmm
be some things you might want to hook up. Also, a lock, like a padlock, combination lock would be a great, thing to have. But anyway, hygiene. Tell me, what do you got?
yeah. So I mean, hygiene is a major cause of health problems. You know what I mean? It's not
Yes.
just that you smell bad and you look like trash and nobody wants to talk to you. It's not, getting it spreads disease. It's a good way to get sick
Yeah.
if you want to get sick, that's how you might start going about it. Um, but there are also a lot of campgrounds that you could go to. Now that's not really an urban thing, but if you're traveling across the country and you can stop in a campground and get a shower, that's a great thing. They also have a lot of truck stops have pay for showers where you can
Yeah.
pay a couple of bucks and get a hot shower. Um, Now
Uh,
you'd mentioned like Planet Fitness and health clubs and the YMCA. There are a
yes.
lot of public rec centers that have free. You can free use them if you go early in the morning.
Okay.
Public restrooms. That's another one. Now, a lot of places expect you to buy something if you go into their store and use the
Sure.
restroom, whatever. And,
Um,
you could just say, I'm going to get it when I come out. And then just when you come out, just leave,
a lot of remember the kind of people that are working in a gas station. A lot of them, one, have been in a situation and
Right.
can kind of relate and are happy to, help out a
Hmm.
fellow traveler kind of thing. Another thing is but the thing is, they want to feel like you're not going to steal from them. And
Right.
that's the big thing. I mean, that's where, the gas station people are like, "Oh, I don't want you hanging around my store," when you look like somebody who's going to, be shoplifting and stealing all their stuff, and they
Hmm.
don't want to spend their effort keeping an eye on you. And so if you look like you're ready to participate in society and not out to get them, that's
Hmm.
hygiene comes in. Like I said, it really kind of opens up opportunities. But
Right. If
if you
you
have a
look like a dirty
place,
homeless person, they're going to
right,
treat you like a dirty homeless person.
exact. I mean, maybe that's not fair and maybe that's not how we want the world to be, but that's how the world is.
Right.
Another thing, when you kind of become homeless and are heading out to things, people try and hold on to stuff. You really need to not have anything that's not about function. Honestly, you're going to end up losing it anyway. So don't bother. Your best move is to take anything you feel of value and kind of turn it over to, hey, another family member, a friend. Hey, can I leave this here with you? Can I leave this
Right.
box of these items that are important to me at your house? And that kind of thing. Because trying to carry around a bunch of stuff is not going to help you.
Right.
Um, Carrying around stuff that you need day to day, that will help you. Carrying around nostalgia and something like that is not going to be the trick.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to be the harsh reality guy, but that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah. Your
Um,
grandmother's candlesticks aren't gonna
they're
aren't
not going to
gonna
help,
help
right?
out.
Um, I having quality shoes, and the better you can get to, the better off you're going to be.
Hmm.
Back to, you were saying showers. A lot of the beach towns have the outdoor showers,
Right.
that kind of thing. That's not necessarily wrong. You
Hmm.
take advantage of what you got, and then also the kind of cat bath thing, being able to go in, just making a choice to go in and handle stuff.
Right.
One of the things that I've seen is like places in the north, we had Quick Check and like that. Gas stations like that have pretty big good public restrooms. Like you said,
Hmm.
the truck stops. Truckers, when they fill up with gas, a lot of the time they'll get like free shower tokens, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
A lot of times you can hit the guys up for to get their extra tokens, because
Hmm.
sometimes they're getting gas more than more
More than they
often
need
than
to
they're
shower.
showering or that
Right.
kind of thing. Right. So that kind of thing might be available, something to look at. But uh the another thing, you need to kind of check out what's the shelter schedule, what's the churches and the people who offer food. You need to kind of find out what's available to you, um and find out where to be and when to be there, and kind of plan your life around it.
Hmm.
Now, let's talk about shelter for a minute.
Okay. Good.
um yeah, so what I've found is, based on my research here, is you kind of want to get away from the mainstream normal, like, congestion. You don't want to be like, all right, so you want to hang out in the day where people are and opportunity is, right?
Hmm.
But in the evening, you don't want to be right in the middle of it. You kind of
Right.
want to find the out of the way place.
Hmm.
Actually going that little bit of walking, that mile or 2 miles out of town,
Right.
might be your better trick to find something that's secure. Um, I understand the safety in numbers, but to be honest, it's hard to trust people. And
Yeah. I wanted to touch on
yeah,
that
go
because
ahead.
everything I read about was they said stay away from other homeless people. You
Yeah.
know, it might like you said, safety in numbers, but the truth is, the numbers, in this situation, are crazy people. A
Uh,
lot of homeless people are
yes.
drug addicts. A lot of
Yep.
people have mental health issues. A lot of
Yes.
homeless people have substance abuse issues.
Yes.
They're not like, the cream of the crop, the nicest, kindest, people that
Right.
you deal with at church. It's not those people.
Right. You
So
might meet that guy, but he's
right,
not going to be the norm.
right. So you know, ideally you would have a tent. That's the best bet is having a tent available, and being able to use something like that. Now, I know we've talked on this podcast before about stealth camping, about getting uh getting an out of the way spot, like in the middle of a public park, but you want to keep a low profile. Um, a lot of people, obviously, you see a lot of homeless people, under overpasses and things like that, to keep the rain off of them. We've talked about, building shelters out in the thing. The main thing is you want to be able to stay dry and warm, and that's the primary use of the shelter, and that's what you want to focus on. Uh, here's some other tips though. If you're staying away from other homeless people, you can use the library. You know what I mean? Libraries kick out homeless people, but if you don't look like a homeless person, especially if you could go to a college campus and use
Right.
their library, there's students sleeping in libraries all the time. It's not even a weird thing.
That's the
Um,
norm.
it's a normal thing. One thing that I read, now I don't know how true this is. Um, one thing I read is that you can go to like garden centers, like 24-hour stores like Walmart and stuff like that, and just find an out of the way place and take a nap, because the people that work at those places generally don't give a fuck. They don't want to be there either. They're not going to have to deal with, they don't want to have to deal with fist fighting a homeless guy that's sleeping at their spot. They're just going to walk right past you and ignore you.
Yeah. A lot of people who are homeless are living in their car. Now, obviously, it gets to a point where you don't have the car anymore, whatever, depending on how your situation is. It's weird. In a lot of more expensive cities, there are people earning decent salaries, $50,000 a year, who end up being homeless, which is kind of insane. But it's not. I mean, it's insane that it costs that much to live in a city like that. And that's what I mean. But um, so people will be living in their car and that kind of situation. A Walmart parking lot, you're not allowed to stay there overnight. The consensus that I've seen is if you basically show up after 7 p.m. and you leave by 7 a.m., you're good to go. Um, they usually won't give you any grief or any kind of thing like that. It's when you kind of stretch past those boundaries that you kind of get into trouble.
Hmm.
The same thing. It's always tough to find a parking area. I know that one time I was doing a 20-hour drive, and I tried to pull into a rest area and kind of sleep in the rest area for 10 minutes or whatever, or an hour, whatever. And a trooper comes over knocking on the door, the window,
Uh,
and he's like, "Hey, you can't be sleeping here." And he's like, "It's not safe because somebody's going to come kill you." And well, yeah, I mean, it's a rest area, right?
yeah,
But
exactly. You should be
yeah,
able to rest there, but no,
so
not really the case.
right,
Also, apparently, I learned that that's like a gay hookup spot is rest areas.
you got to keep
So,
your options open. That's what I say.
yeah. Um, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? That's what it is. Another, now a lot of people uh, that don't have cars still need to deal with transportation, get from
Right,
place to place. Now, if you have a car, obviously gas is free, and more expensive over the past few years. It's not doesn't seem like it's really gonna gonna get a whole lot better anytime soon. Um,
Right.
so you need to familiarize yourself with public transportation.
Right.
That's kind of a big one. Whether it's trains or subways or buses. Um, that can be a great option from getting from place to place, especially if you want to be in the city to panhandle because that's where you want to do it. Um, but you also want to be out of town, like Chuck was saying, for your living place.
Right.
Um, so hitchhiking is another great option. And now, when I was studying up on this, I learned a little bit about train hopping. Apparently, that's
Oh,
still a thing.
all right.
It used to be a big deal back in the day, and they would have the conductor going from car to car and beating the shit out
Cracking
of
heads. Yep.
hobos. And exactly,
Yep.
not so much the case anymore. Now they're really trying to chase people off from vandalizing or spray painting train cars. Um, but you can hop on a train. It's also a good way to you know lose a leg or something, though. You know what I mean? You don't want to fall off of a moving train or fall under a moving train when you're trying to get on and off of it. So you got to be pretty agile and pretty fit to be hopping trains. But there's a whole community out there that's train hopping, traveling around the country. So that's something to think about. Um, how about food?
All right.
You don't
So
have a job, you
food.
don't have a
Where are you
place
gonna
to
find
live.
food?
Where are you going to get something to eat?
All right. So we did talk about churches, homeless shelters, that kind of thing.
Right.
Definitely.
There's a lot of community pantries
Right.
and like you said, churches have a lot of they'll do like a soup kitchen type once a week. You can figure out where and when those times are, and that's the spot to go.
All right. Now, I did hear, like, as far as dumpster diving, right? That kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um, One, you're not allowed to bring any food or drinks into the U.S. Capitol. So it turns out people have their lunch and they'll just drop it in the trash on the way in. Because
Right.
so the trash outside the Capitol is want to be. I'm just saying,
Nice. Nice.
secret
Okay.
pros right there. I mean, that's where I get all my snacks. But
Uh huh.
in your mind, you're like, oh, I should hang out outside the restaurant and I'm going to find food. I was told that the dumpsters restaurants is not where you want to be. Turns out
All right.
that food that you find there, you're kind of scooping up off the bottom of the dumpster, and that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was in New Orleans, it was very big to hang out outside the restaurants, especially fancier restaurants, and hit people up for their leftovers and
Mm,
be like, "Hey, I could take those for you." I know we
yeah.
actually like we were in a hotel, so we went and had like food to go. Like, hey, can I get 20 chicken wings or whatever it is, right? And we go to
Hmm.
pick up our chicken wings, and like eight homeless people. Can I have your leftovers? And I'm like, this is my dinner. Like,
This is my
give
actual
me.
food. Yeah.
This is where I'm at. But I mean, so that's a big thing.
Hmm.
One of the other things, like, so if you are kind of like, hey, who's throwing out good stuff, where you want to look is convenience stores. They're always
Yeah.
kind of recycling through the dates on their food and that kind of stuff.
Right.
um Obviously you'll kind of learn who puts out good stuff, who doesn't. I
Hmm.
would assume like bakeries or places where they're
Bakeries. Yeah.
producing food,
That's
right?
what I read is a lot of day old bread ends up going
Right,
out in the
that kind of
trash
thing.
or getting donated someplace, and maybe you could be the
There
the
you go.
donation spot.
um One of the other things they're looking at is sorry, like the Hostess trucks and the Frito-Lay guy, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So they'll come out and make their delivery and they'll put all the new fresh stuff in, but they're going to take away all the old expired.
Right.
Now they need to inventory what they take away in the old expired, but once they do, they have stuff they can, maybe possibly give away. And if you approach people in a nice, friendly way and you don't smell bad because you're taking care of your hygiene, you
Hmm.
might be able to get the hookup. That's something you may want to think about. Um, So that's an opportunity. Uh, I don't know what else. What do you got, Kevin?
Well, another thing that I did, well, you were talking about convenience stores and that
Yeah,
earlier. One of the things I read is that you should be loading up on any sort of the free ketchups, the free sauce
yeah.
packets, all that sort of stuff, because old
Calories.
food can not taste as shitty if you've got
Hot
it
sauce.
drowned in
Hot sauce
condiments.
makes it all better, or the
Yeah,
salt.
that's right. So they said the hot sauce from Taco Bell, best spot. But a lot of the fast food restaurants have stuff just out on the counter available that you can grab them.
Now I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if
More and
it's the
more they've
beard.
been keeping
Yeah,
it behind
the
the
counter.
counter, but
All right. Now I don't know if it's the beard, but I know whenever I go to Taco Bell, the girl always puts about 40 sauce packets in the bag. And
yeah,
I'm like, well, okay, but I mean, I only got like one taco, and
right. I
so
can't do that much
they
hot
want to
sauce
hook
on
you
one
up,
taco, but yeah.
Water is actually a big thing, and Taco Bell and McDonald's have the courtesy cups and the water you're able to get.
Hmm.
That's maybe a good option. Again,
Right.
you don't want to wear out your welcome. Um,
Hmm.
it's something you want to think about, but being able to get fresh water, finding a spigot or public water fountains, I guess that's not really a thing anymore. Ever since COVID, they really
Hmm.
have cracked down on water fountains. They're,
Yeah.
centers for disease, right?
Yeah.
That's something to think about. But I don't know. You gotta kind of take what you can get, I guess, is kind of what I would say. Be open to opportunities.
Hmm. Yeah. Now another thing to think about is with food is cheap stuff you can
Oh,
get. Ramen. That's a staple of of homeless people is ramen.
yeah.
Um, ramen is good in the sense that it has a lot of calories. It'll keep you from starving to death, but it doesn't have like any nutritional value. So you want to be adding as much as you can to that ramen when you get it. And they got those little soups where the styrofoam cup, you just pour the hot water in there and you're ready to party. Um, another option that I didn't realize, but apparently homeless people know all about this, um, hunting. Uh, Setting up a snare is pretty cheap if you can, source any of that wire or rope or any of that sort of stuff. You can set up snares pretty good. And rats, a mouse, the average mouse has the same amount of protein as two eggs.
No.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of calories in there, but it's got a
Surely
lot of
you
protein.
jest. All
Yep.
right.
So with the
So
mouse,
you're
what you want to
saying,
do if you're going to cook a mouse or a rat,
all right,
you
or
just take
rat.
the whole thing and throw it in the fire. Burn all the hair
Okay.
off,
All the
roast it up
hair off.
good, and then you pull it out, you rip it open, and just scoop the guts out and discard them. Then the rest of it,
Secret of the
skin and
pros.
all that, everything else is edible. You just got to make sure, especially with a rat and a mouse, you want to make sure it's cooked all the way through because they're full of disease and full of all sorts of nastiness.
And if you have that Taco Bell hot sauce,
See right there.
secret of the
It's
pros.
coming in. Yep.
Another thing. So, uh, busking, that kind of thing.
Uh
Now a
huh.
lot of places that's kind of illegal and can get you into trouble, but then there's other places where it's not. Sometimes just having a good joke, having a good couple of jokes. It's funny. I came across a guy in New Orleans. Turns out most of my homeless. I spent a fair amount of time in New York City as a younger person, and the homeless people there all kind of wanted to stab you and kill you, and you just kind of walk to the other side of the street. In New
Hmm.
Orleans, you couldn't tell who was homeless from anybody else. Apparently they live well, a little bit better there. And one of the guys came up to me, and he's like, oh, give me $5 so that way my kid isn't here asking you for $5 next year.
Uh huh.
And just having your little sharp, little clever thing to say might push you over the edge to
Hmm.
getting your money.
Yeah.
um
Now I've never seen a guy with like a cardboard sign that I've given money to. You know,
No.
it's always like, "We'll work for food. God bless." That no, no.
People always
But I
talk like
did
they make
see.
$1 million a year doing that, and my experience talking to people, that's not really the case.
Nah, it's more like, if you're really hustling and apparently there's a difference, but if you're a white guy that's homeless, you can make about $80 a day. If you're a black guy that's homeless, it's closer to $40 a day. So there is a little bit of racism when it comes to homelessness. But, I did see a guy with a cardboard sign that said, "I'm not gonna lie, I just want a drink." And I did give him money. So
Well,
that's
you could relate.
yeah, I get that.
You
I
know,
get
you're
that.
like,
You want to
that
go
makes
buy
sense.
yourself a 40? I'll donate
Yeah.
to that cause.
That's what I heard is people are like, yeah, everybody can kind of see through your lies and don't try
Hmm.
and sell, the homeless vet when, yeah,
Right.
no.
He's
And
not
you're
a vet.
like 17 and yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, not don't get me wrong, there are homeless vets out there,
Oh
quite a
yeah.
few of them. But most of the people that got to have a sign that says homeless vet is not really a
Right.
vet. Um
Um, yeah.
so so when it comes to panhandling though,
All
there's a
right.
couple of things you want to do, you know? You don't want to have face tattoos, number 1.
That's
People
a
aren't going
no.
to donate to you if you have face tattoos. You're trash. You also want to imply that you're just on hard times, that you're not like a habitual homeless person that's scamming. Now, a lot of people I've seen a lot of videos of people with cameras following a homeless people
Yeah.
back to their nice car because they can make a decent amount of money. But
All
if you're
right.
really out there, if you're really out there in a high traffic area with a cardboard sign that says we'll work for food, people don't want to actually give you a job, but at least they feel like you're trying. Nobody's like, all right, well, I'll
All
tell
right.
you what, you can come home to my house and mow my lawn and I'll make you lunch. You know, if
Isn't
you
that who
tell a
is the
homeless
little
person with
blonde
that
girl who
sign,
got kidnapped? Remember, it ended up like they blamed the dad or whatever, but it was the homeless guy that they brought home to do the
yes,
yard work. Uh,
exactly. Yeah, snatched up the daughter.
Casey something, or I don't remember her
I don't
name. I
I don't
don't know.
remember. It was a while back, but he
But
he hired a homeless person to do some work at his house, and next thing you know, his daughter's missing.
and
I
it's
mean,
yeah, so I don't know how much you want to call their bluff on that one,
yeah,
but
you don't. You don't want to do that. But if you have a sign that says that, people think that you actually are trying,
and
you
they're
know?
like, "Look, I know you want to try, but I'm not going to bring you home to kidnap my daughter.
Right, I'll
So
just give you 5
I'll just
bucks.
give you $5 and it'll be easier for both of us."
Yeah, so
Uh,
you wanna move around and find the best spot
one of
for
my
for panhandling.
yeah,
Some spots are just gonna be dead ends.
right. One of the tricks I know, New York City, they actually crack down pretty good on like selling trinkets and your
Right.
whatever shenanigans. So that's maybe not the place. But one of the things that I think my kid one was doing it in like Boston or something, but um is magic tricks, right?
Mm,
Learn one or two little tricks. It's funny, I bought a couple of books on that kind of thing, like
sleight of hand
basically all
stuff.
the little sleight of hand and hustles and things like that people are doing.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of neat things. You always get the stupid, the guy who comes up to you and is like, well, if I tell you where you bought your shoes, will you give me, $10? And then or where you got your shoes. And they're
Mhm.
like, you got them on your feet. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you I'm not sure that's the way to go.
Mhm.
If you're a 500-pound man and you're like, yeah, I'll kill you, or you
Mhm.
look like you'll stab them in the eye if they don't give you the $5, that might
Right.
work.
That might be helpful. Yeah.
But if you're like the dumb kid, it's probably not going to work for you. So, anyway, find something that makes you unique, entertaining, make people laugh, make people happy, and that might be able to give you that little bit of an edge.
Yeah, generally if you're homeless, you're kinda depressed. You gotta suppress that and actually, you know, come across as cheerful and happy and friendly. Um, Not always easy to do when you're in a bad mood, especially if you're homeless, you're probably in a bad mood all the time. But just pretend. and pretending sometimes will actually help change your mood too. Um,
Right.
Now, one thing you want to think about is if you're homeless, people are watching out that you're going to steal something,
Okay.
shoplifting and shit like that. It's
Yes.
not, you know, it's not easy to do when people are expecting you to steal something.
Right.
So you don't never want to steal something that people are selling because they watch out for that sort of stuff. You want
Now
to
you
steal
steal the
things that
pen behind the counter.
yeah, you want to steal things that people aren't trying to get money for. You know what I mean?
Secret of the pro.
Yeah. So, just keep that in mind. If you go to a hotel, you can raid those ice machines if you need ice. If you're living in Florida and it's hot as hell, fill a trash bag up with ice and just carry it around on your back, man. It'll cool you down.
There you go.
Um,
I
there's a lot of stuff like that that's free for people that are paying. That if you're not paying, you can also kind of access it.
uh,
So
I used to, as far as like restrooms go. I used to do I did appliance repair, but I'd be out in the van and go to different houses every day. Well, sometimes you need a bathroom, and finding a good bathroom that's clean and decent and whatever can be tricky when you're out on the road. And I'm sure, as the whole guy, you're thinking that too. Office buildings are the trick. Now,
mm,
you're thinking, well,
oh really?
in the city, they always have doormen looking for that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like they don't. Also, hotels have bathrooms and that kind of thing. But again, if you look
Hmm.
like the homeless guy just wandering in, they might kind of give you grief. But if you look like you have a purpose and you know where you're going and you go right there, you can kind of go
Yeah,
right to that bathroom and whatever. Um,
that's the
I
trick.
know I had a few office buildings that were kind of on my list, like, oh, this place is always empty and
Yeah.
clean and whatever, that I would hit up. I'd be like, oh, right here, I'm gonna driving by. I'm only, yeah, I mean, sometimes if it's the right opportunity, I might drive 4 or 5 miles out of the way just to, hey, there's that good bathroom over
The
there.
good one with the
I'm
nice
gonna
toilet paper.
go there. I need to sit down. They have the 2 ply, so
Yeah.
hey, you do what you have to do, right? We're all trying
Mhm.
to get by. Um, that and I would say be honest. Just try and. So there are a few. I do have a list of top cities you might want to check out
I w
if you're
Yeah, I was
homeless.
gonna ask you about this. So you're homeless and you're
Right.
train hopping. You can go anywhere you want in the country.
All right. Well,
Where do
as
you
you
wanna be?
pointed out earlier, you don't want to be in the north. That's really, you don't want to be anywhere near the north. The north just sucks. All right.
Yeah,
Let's just go
you're
with
gonna
that.
freeze to death.
The only north I'm going to give you maybe on my list is Seattle. And that's just because the population, people won't even be able to tell you're homeless versus somebody else.
Yeah, a
Same
rich
thing.
person
If you're
looks
not
exactly like a
showering,
homeless person, yeah.
they won't even know. So, and Seattle actually has, the city is basically, they're there to accommodate, and it's just easy. They're looking out for their homeless there. Uh,
Yeah,
Houston
you
and
wanna you wanna be in a liberal city, you
yes,
know? And most
where
cities
they,
are
yeah,
liberal, so that works out.
there you go. Houston and Austin are great places, but now they're Houston was considered number one on the list. But now work with me. These aren't necessarily cities that it's easy to be homeless. These are towns and cities that actually want to help you from being homeless and kind of get you into something.
Okay.
They're actually like top cities because they solve their homeless problem, not because they like cater to homeless. All right. So if you're looking to get a hand up and get helped out, Houston and Austin are places you might want to check out.
Alright.
Salt Lake City, Utah, same thing. I don't know if you have to become a Mormon, but they're down to help you out. They're
Alright.
looking. Now, if you just want to be homeless, can I tell you about Berkeley, California?
Ooh.
Now that's maybe your spot. Mild weather, a lot of not-for-profit and shelters are there to
Mhm.
help you,
All
and
the
they're
hippies
looking
out
out
there.
for you. Yeah, it's
Mm.
going to be a go-to. San Diego. same thing. City has a lot of tents and shelter areas set up. New Orleans also good for that, for the actively being homeless. I know when I was there, everybody had like $2,000 dogs and shit, all the homeless people. And I'm like,
Nice.
dude, I don't even understand. How do you, well, it's my dog and I've had him forever, whatever. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense. But okay.
Yeah.
Vegas actually has like courtyards set up where they can kind of contain you and keep you all together, but they have showers and porta potties and security set up.
Hmm. Nice.
So, there's different options, but Vegas, it's hard to get to. You're not
Yeah.
walking there, right? You
Yeah.
gotta,
Exactly.
you gotta be able to hitchhike or find your way. You gotta have the buddy getting there. Maybe your last plane ticket. I imagine they have like $59 flights and shit still to Vegas
Yeah. It
because
can't be that expensive, right? To get
who
there. I mean,
knows?
they want you there.
I haven't been on a plane in forever, so I don't really know. I have no idea what
Hmm.
what the hell's happening, but um probably need special driver's licenses. I'm told they just actually expanded it to now you don't need the they were saying by 2023 you had to have the what's the
Oh, the
enhanced
advanced
license?
ID or
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever
whatever
it
that
is.
is.
With the mine, we have a little gold star on it or
Hmm.
something, makes it the right thing. Um, that kind of thing. But hey, keep your options open, and I would say try not to be homeless. But
Yeah.
if you are, try not to steal shit or steal shit. Don't steal shit that people don't want you to steal. All right,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Be nice. That's the answer. I did just watch a movie last night. Emily the Criminal had the
I
girl
don't know.
from Parks and Recreation, Aubrey Plaza, right? That girl.
Okay. Yep.
All right, she's entertaining. This she didn't kind of have that aloof character that she has on the show, but she's just kind of a tough girl in this one. But
Hmm.
she was all about working the whole credit card fraud.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, so there's options available to you, is what I would say.
Right.
But again, you don't have deodorant, you don't look like a homeless, or if you look like a homeless person, those options kind of go away. But if
Hmm.
you can kind of, just put a little extra effort in hygiene, you might be able to step up your game
Yeah.
and, commit credit
Yeah. And
card fraud.
honestly, if you are homeless,
Yeah,
the main thing you want to do is stop being homeless as fast as possible. The longer
that's
you're
the
homeless,
trick.
the more uh you're gonna be perceived as homeless. You know what I mean? That you look like a homeless person, and I think if you're homeless, at least I've read this. If you're homeless, you don't realize how bad you smell. You don't realize how trashy you look. You know, After a certain amount of time, you stop being aware of how ridiculous looking you are and how scary you can be to middle aged white women.
There you go. So, all right. But, I understand, it's an unusual topic for us and whatever. We just, you need to be able to keep your options open and realize what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you
hey,
you know
it's
if
Christmas
you
is approaching. Maybe
yeah
you have a little charity. Maybe you go out
yeah
and look out for these people.
yeah
Um, Maybe you bring some of the supplies people might need,
yeah. The
you know?
number one thing that homeless people need uh, is socks and underwear.
Socks,
So
underwear, deodorant. You're
yeah,
in.
if you're thinking about helping out some homeless people, that might be your best bet.
Toothbrushes, toothpaste. I
Hmm.
don't think anybody's complaining about that.
Right.
Turns out you can buy, packs for pretty cheap. Um, I know here we have a lot for school lunches and that kind of thing are a big thing, trying to help out. That's really what it comes down to. Guys, we're kind of just trying to bring attention to the situation.
Hmm.
And, times are really tough right now for people. And
Yeah.
helping people out is always a good thing. Holidays coming up, think of who you can help directly. There's always
Hmm.
the government and all these different things, but maybe if you did a little something on your own, you could help out some people. And, $20 to you might not be, a big deal, but to them, it might be a big deal. So, anyway, see what you can do. Look out for each other. You guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe leave comments. Let people know, what you're thinking. Um, you can email us with show topics, thoughts, concerns, preppingbadass@gmail.com. We have a website, preppingbadass.com, where we have an email list you can sign up. Also, you might want to check out Prepping Badass group on Facebook. Otherwise, I would say with that, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.